looking at Linda Ground and Linda Mwananchi, and looking at the originality of ODM, that it was built on the foundation of a crisis. Which party yenye ukiangalia Linda Ground ama Linda Mwananchi inaka actually inaweza create inaweza fight ya wananchi, and ina portray hiyo picha yenyewe kwamba yenyewe hii chama ya fight ya. To me, an answer, it is purely Linda Mwananchi. The current president who came akituuzia narrative kwamba is not going to borrow and we are going to live within our means. Within 4 good years, because this is his 4th year, like next year tunaenda 5th year, akaenda kuvotiwa, mimi ni one term, na sina tukimvote next year atoke. Within 4 good years, William Ruto ametupeleka kwa deni ya 12 trillion shillings. And at this financial year, William Ruto budget yenye ilipatiwa na budget yenye ilikuwa imeallocatiwa State House was 8.7 billion shillings. Sawa. 8.7 billion shillings William Ruto alimaliza within 10 months. Akaongezewa surplus. So which means precisely William Ruto hata 1 year ijaisha ametumia 12 billion shillings State House kwa vipindi tu, kuita mapasta, kuita nani, na niko kadi one time milele. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a wonderful day again. My name is Wabs, and as I always promise you that I bring you the best, I bring you the best guests, and today I have the National Speaker Bunge la Mwananchi JEVANJEE, Mr. Mark. We are here to dissect into the national issues. Mark, welcome.
Asante.
Yes. So, karibu. We have a lot that are unfolding, and our country, the way it's being run. We have a lot that's happening in the SHA. Do you have something that you want to tell us about what is happening in the SHA?
To me, I would say it is very unfortunate that at this time and point, and previously we had the previous regime,
yes,
with President Kenyatta,
yes,
on how he had handled NHIF by then.
Yes.
It wasn't that better, but it was fairly okay for Mwananchi.
Yes.
Simply because services were being provided. And even though corruption ilikuwa, but the beauty about NHIF, it was very efficient in terms of its functionality for Mwananchi. But now the problem I have with SHA, one, it is the cost that our current president ali have to switch from NHIF to SHA. That cost kwanza. It is very, to me, I see it very contentious because ali place 104 billion shillings to transition NHIF to SHA.
That went only to the system.
To the system alone. But who verified kwamba it requires 104 billion? You see, now that's why we question. An audit must be done. Kwamba the 104 billion shillings was actually it was actually a must that it should be used to that extent of amount. And then at the end of the day after that, now I'm looking at its efficiency. SHA yenyewe.
Yes, now the delivery to
yes, the service delivery kwa mwananchi. You see, number one, SHA, there's a friend of ours pale bunge anasemanga SHA ina behave ni kama patapotea. Kwamba utasikia mtu
it is emotional.
Yes, because now to me, I've had so many people wenye so many wenye wameenda hospitali. Yes, true, SHA inalipa to an extent. But now, what we expected when the president had transitioned NHIF to SHA was purely that SHA will be an improvement or an enhancement of NHIF. But me huwezi niambia that SHA inaoffer less services compared to NHIF. Because utapata bado issue ya madawa, it is not being sorted. There are those patients when you wanna struggle with chronic diseases. Not all of them diseases zao zinakuanga covered by SHA to an extent, in terms of the payment that must be there for them to receive the service. And then again, the allegation by Auditor General na control of budget that there is an amount of money, actually 50 billion shillings, imepotea from SHA on paying fake hospitals, also fake patients. That unapata one patient ameza sijui mara 3, and then the worst
within the same year.
Yes, and then the worst part of it is this: when there was an expose that Kenyatta National Hospital ina struggle kununua madawa, na apart from that machine hazifanyi, and the third most ni hata hizo chakula za wagonjwa suppliers hawapatiwi. You see now that was what it was in December. Wagonjwa wanakaa and even treatment yao haiko sawa, and yet we are losing 50 billion shillings. You see now that's why I say kwamba number one, our leadership has a problem. The mismanagement of our health sector. And let me say this, any developed country, a first world country, the priority they put on ni number one, on the basic needs za common mwananchi. Number one, education, health. Apart from health, itakuja kwa hiyo aspect maybe kama the ability to purchase food and everything, food security, vitu kama hizo, security, and also at least an affordable residential, kama hiyo affordable housing, but at least a very conducive or a very comfortable place where they can reside. But now the problem is our government turn all these needs for commercial purposes or for transactional purposes. You see, you provide health service to provide wananchi health service purely for transactional purposes, not out of ile aspect that it is their prerogative for them to get that good service. Education has also been a commodity for the rich. CBE is a very good concept, but now the problem is, now me I look at it in a different way. The infrastructure to support CBE is not there. The government, under this government, ever since the William Ruto took power, the government that has allocated the highest amount of money to education is this one. This is the government that has allocated the highest amount of money. Ukiangalia from their first financial year, hao ndo walioffer over 600 billion. Second financial year kuja over 600 billion. This third financial year na tunafunga ndo tuingie kwa hii yenye natupeleka sasa kwa time election, alioffer over 702 billion shillings. Ukiweka yote na kuja around 2 trillion shillings. For within 3 good years, William Ruto ametumia 2 trillion shillings aka-allocate kwa education. But now, how that money ina reflect kwa service delivery is where the problem comes in. There is that gap. A lot of money is being pumped kwa the sector education, but hiyo pesa i-reflect kwa service ya mwananchi. So which means hii pesa inaekwa pale for makatel kukula. But when you look at the previous government between 2017 and 2022, I normally give this example. The former President Uhuru Kenyatta used a similar amount of money, 2.4 trillion shillings for 5 good years. Na 2.4 trillion shillings ali-ensure kwamba help was being available for all students. And you need to remember kwamba when Matiang'i was appointed the Minister of Education in 2016, Matiang'i ali-reduce cut mark ya kwenda campus from B to C+. He's the first minister in Kenya to reduce cut mark ya kwenda campus. C+. And you need to understand kwamba then,
I don't think that's a good idea.
It was a good idea and I didn't have an issue. But now, the beauty about then also is that help was being available and available to all the students. Watoto walikuwa wanaenda shule, help inapatikana. And the former President Uhuru Kenyatta contracted even the private universities kuensure kwamba hawa watoto wasikose kwanza pata chance ya kusoma, na alikuwa anapeana help mpaka kwa private universities. You see now how the beauty, because I realized the government never had enough schools universities to support the number of students walikuwa wanakuja kwa campus. So he had to liaise with the private universities to accommodate all students wapate chance ya masomo. You see how beautiful and innovative and a president who has goodwill. People blame Uhuru Kenyatta of overborrowing. Kwamba aliborrow nearly 7 trillion shillings, alituachia debt because he borrowed 7 trillion shillings na akatuachia debt of 8.7. Now the saddest thing is this. The current president who came akituuzia narrative kwamba is not going to borrow and we are going to live within our means. Within 4 good years, because this is his 4th year, next year ndo tunaenda 5th year, akaenda kuvotiwa, mimi ni one time, na sina tukimvote next year atoke. Within 4 good years, William Ruto ametupeleka kwa deni ya 12 trillion shillings. You can imagine, 12 trillion shillings from 8.7, which means William Ruto, within 4 good years, increased debt yetu, borrow 5 trillion shillings. Now you can imagine, if within 4 good years, pesa ya Uhuru Kenyatta within 10 good years, borrow 7. which means if you spread within the two terms utapata the first term was 3.5, the other term was 3.5, ndio inakuja 7 trillion. Huyu within 4, hata si term moja ijaisha, within 4 good years ameshaeka 5, which means tukienda next year na anasema kwamba is going to borrow another 1 trillion ya for development sijui ya nini, which means by next year akitoka atakometia chana deni ya 6 trillion, an equivalent ya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta within 10 good years. And then the most ignorant people wanasema tutam how. So to me the argument about health inaumiza roho when a population of 50 million Kenyans wana struggle kupata service that it is their right. You can imagine kwamba William Ruto juzi alitokea, jina yake was mentioned in the tussle for Nairobi hospital. Nairobi hospital, I assume people say it is a public hospital. I've not done my research well about it, but the allegations are there kwamba any president who comes into power anaapia kwa the immediate patron Nairobi hospital. Let me ask you a honest question. Kulikuwa na an expose juzi, I think it was last year or early this year, kwamba Kenya is owned with less than 150 people. Yani the whole of 50 million Kenyans, the people who co-share the economical value of Kenyans ni only 150. I don't know, remember the lion's share of our economy. Ow. So you can imagine Nairobi hospital ndio inapeana service to such kind of caliber. But Kenyatta National Hospital inapeana service to the many millions of Kenyans who cannot afford a very prestigious hospital kama Nairobi hospital. Instead of him being the president, ofisi yake inaraniwa na taxpayers money. Instead yeye afocus na vitu kama Kenyatta National Hospital, then this man I do not know where tulimtoa, yeye anaenda kuangalia Nairobi hospital. Nairobi hospital of all things, and Nairobi hospital where ukiangalia nearly half of Nairobi wanaishi in informal sectors ama modest lives. Bana mimi I always tend to not understand how William Ruto operates. But one thing is for sure, number one, our current president does not have goodwill. He's just playing politics. If there is a president who's purely playing politics with the lives of Kenyans, is this one. And the most dangerous thing I see about him is because he has invested a lot of money into selling hope. Yani kama kuna mtu mwenye anatuuzia ameboro pesa 5 trillion kuuza hope. Because if you ask, how will William Ruto substantiate how he has used the 5 trillion shillings in Yameboro? Because Uhuru alituachia 8.7. Right now tunaongelea 12.7. That is nearly 5 or 4 trillion shillings. Actually, nearly 5 trillion shillings. So how does William Ruto substantiate? Ati after 4 good years, saindo William Ruto anaambia mandugu zangu wa Western na Nyanza ati anatuletea Mau Summit Road. Akiingia 2022, did he not know? Because he had the manifesto. Immediately William Ruto, the only manifesto he implemented was to increase taxes. Akaanza na fuel levy, akaitoa from I think it was 88%, akaipeleka to 16% fuel levy. Under Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta it was 8%. Akatoa from fuel levy akaenda to road maintenance fee. Road maintenance fee under Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta it was 18 shillings. Sahi aka increase to 25 shillings. That was within his first 1 year. William Ruto went to increase taxes. Akatoka hapa akaeka house levy tax ya kulipa hii affordable housing. Akaongeza hapo. Now you can imagine William Ruto is first, he had a manifesto before 2022, but when akiingia manifesto yake ilikuwa ku increase tax. And that's why Raila was the first man, and people should take this into record. The late Raila Amolo Odinga was the first man to weka Ruto must go. It was not Wamunyoro. Na sufuria kwa kichwa. The cost was there. Then after Raila Amolo Odinga, the Gen Z who somehow Mungu aliwaleta wakakuja tena na again Ruto must go against the reject finance bill. And it was purely because of the wrong economical conditions that William Ruto alikuwa na make, the wrong economical decisions that William Ruto was making. So he had the guts to forgo all the promises that he had put to Kenyans na akaenda ku increase taxes. So for 2 good years, William Ruto alikuwa na Shylock nchi. Ana increase tax and is doing nothing. Then now at the 4th year ndo sana anaanza kutulizia hope. Anatuzia hope kwamba is going to make finish SGR. SGR yenye exist since aanze after 4 good years. Alikuwa anafanya nini? Mau Summit alikuwa anafanya nini? Sasa ndo anaanza kutuambia tu kwamba mambo ya agriculture, hizo ma irrigation scheme anataka kumaliza. You can imagine that sasa anatuamuzia kipindi SGR na Mau Summit itaisha 2028, so that the many people who are ignorant about his false rhetorics atotampigia kura next year 2027 ati sababu barabara. My friend, it is our right number one for the president to serve us. Hii pesa yenye ana collect si yake, na mimi mwambia watu wengi wenye wanasemanga tu State House si biashara ya mtu. State House is a public property that is mandated to serve wananchi. Whoever sits in that office must serve Kenyans. William Ruto for the last 4 good years amekuwa akiserve his own personal interest, and I don't understand. He has been there in the public service ever since he was an MP. He became a CS, now he became a deputy president. Ni pesa ngapi hajatengeleza? Watoto wake hata washakuwa kubwa. They already have an inheritance. Why can't you just serve Kenyans? Ni ngumu. So this guy does not have kumi. He's a pastor who anauza prosperity gospel. Yeye na Kanyari hakuna tofauti. Yeye vile Kanyari anachapa prosperity gospel, yeye anauza prosperity gospel. And to be sincere, right now I've decided to separate religion. I believe in God, but I will separate religion and politics.
Yes,
we need the right person to make the right decisions next year. Yes. Sure. So William Ruto is.
So even if he's an atheist.
You see, to me, the idea about atheist is, to me, I'd really prefer my own personal preference. I really prefer president who fears God, because there are certain decisions. Number one, let me not lie to you. You see, there are these conspiracy theories zinakuanga globally. When you look around, utasikia that there are those leaders who sacrifice their own population for certain things. Utasikia in the health sector, and I tend to believe William Ruto. Mimi simwaminingi vizuri, because me, I was asking a simple question. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, a drunkard, by the way, a drunkard, and I'm not apologetic to say that, a drunkard for 2 good years under Corona. When Corona hit us first on the year 2020, na 2021, that drunkard was able to stabilize and handle this country for 2 good years. Na kuna siku, and I always tend to wonder how Kenyans hawakuenda kwa street at Uhuru must go. They only abused him kwa mtandao. But they never went to an extent, and that was the major point yenye wa Kenya wangetoka kwa barabara waende hata parliament waseme Uhuru must go, like vile William Ruto angekuwa. And under Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta during Corona, 1 million jobs were lost. But during that period, Uhuru did something very, to me, I always respect that man. Number one, I'll reduce taxes. Mtu yote mkulima mdogo mwenye alikuwa anafanya transaction kwa M-Pesa, kuna tule tu tax kidogo ka interest ka charges zingine zilitolewa. Kama ukituma 100, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was the one mwenye alirecommend kwamba ukituma 100 haitaxiwi. Then ukifanya transaction between bank na M-Pesa, kuna charges zingine zikoshatolewa. Then the beauty about that man is also this. Watu wote walikuwa na salary below 24,000 hawakuwa na taxiwa. Aliwa exempt from tax so that they can survive. Now, despite the fact that Kenyans waliona 1 million jobs were lost, na wengine walikuwa na equal association, the reason why they never went to that point of anger is because also Uhuru, in as much as even though we will say politics, but he did the right thing.
Yes.
Ali somehow funika wa Kenya uchungi swaleme. Then the beauty about again Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, ali increase subsidy to the first consumable goods. Na ukumbuke hiyo time pia kulikuwa na linda mama. Wakenya walikuwa na za peace. Ukizaa unatulipa tu 20 bob, mtoto anakuja. And I think hiyo ndio time yenye population ya Kenya ilikuwa at least na grow. Sasa hii unapigia hesabu economy utakuisha aje economy. Now you look at William Ruto. What has he done? He removed linda mama, akatoa subsidy, aka increase tax, akasema hata borrow, overborrow, borrow nearly an equivalent of whatever Uhuru borrowed for 10 good years. Then there is a person who still sit here and tell you how. And then you're telling us that he's bringing Mau Summit, he's bringing SGR. My friend, the president has been there since 2022. What has he been doing? Yes. Saa hii angekuwa na launch, but if William Ruto would be launching SGR Malaba, angekuwa na kanyaga Malaba. Sasa anasema si mlikuwa mnasema sisi fanya kazi. Aya Waluya Wajaluo ndio really ndio imefika kwenye. Na anafungua, si ati ana launch, anafungua kwamba ana commission kwamba itumike, ikuwe functional saa hii. Hii barabara ya Mau Summit angekuwa na commission saa hii inatumika saa hii, barabara imeisha. But now what is the guy doing? Ati sasa hivi wanaenda kufungua. After 4 good years, what has he been doing? And he has been collecting taxes. And to me, the saddest thing is this. The president who was the first one kupitisha mark ya budget ya 4 trillion is William Ruto.
Yes.
So me I will ask, uko na budget of 4.2 trillion shillings. How comes the money is not circulating in the economy so that hata ule common mwananchi apate? How comes?
And they're stealing and taking
William Ruto anasema is not the first president ati kupatana na unemployment. But I will ask a simple thing. All these other presidents hawakuwa overtax for Kenya. Hawakuwa overtax for Kenya. There's no other president who has overtaxed Kenyans like this one.
But don't you even find that statement to be irresponsible? Because how do you say that I'm not the first president, a member of the executive?
When it comes to,
because we've given you the mandate and the instruments of violence to ensure that everything.
And I totally agree with you. You see, it is very irresponsible for whoever is collecting taxes to say that he's not the first person kupatana na Wakenya wenye wako unemployed. My friend, you're collecting taxes. You're supposed to be innovative with that tax to provide a conducive environment so that young people can get jobs. That is number one. Number two, William Ruto is very good to exempt blame. Yani wakati collect taxes, he's very good on implementing. But ikifika kuhandle a crisis, anasema si yake. So the 16 million Kenyans, I agree, probably create. But now the 16 million Kenyans are also asking the little amount of money walikuwa wanapata under Uhuru and the previous regimes. Wewe unaiba hiyo hata hiyo kidogo. Sasa where do you want them to go? Where do you want them to go? When number one, you make education expensive. You make education expensive, nini a commodity for the rich. Yes. Kwamba let me ask, umeweka a budget of 700 billion shillings. I would ask William Ruto confidently, show us how the 700 billion shillings in education imetumika. How many schools has William Ruto built in Turkana County? We see them daily wanasoma chini ya mti. How many schools has William Ruto built in Samburu? How many schools has he built in Marsabit, Isiolo? How many of them anaweza enda identify that even in his own backyard in Rift Valley, Baringo? How many? Our young people wana struggle na banditry huko.
Yes, but that might not be the role of the national government. This is a devolved system.
You see, at the end of the day, let me ask you a question. Out of the amount of budget, total budget in Kenya, the total budget in William Ruto ana collecting via tax, 4.2 trillion shillings. It is only a paltry of 15%. 15% yenye nenda kwa counties. The remaining 75, actually it is 85% inabaki na William Ruto. Now let me ask, and this is the most saddest thing, and that's why I keep on to disregard wale watu wenye wanasema tuta. Under this financial year 4.2 trillion. This financial year, says it go to 2026. So financial year ilianza 2025 to 2026, then we go to 2026 to 2027. Under this financial year, William Ruto budget yenye ilipatiwa na budget yenye ilikuwa imeallocatiwa State House was 8.7 billion shillings. Sawa. 8.7 billion shillings William Ruto alimaliza within 10 months. Akaongezewa surplus. So which means precisely William Ruto hata 1 year ijaisha ametumia 12 billion shillings State House kwa vipindi tu, kuita mapasta, kuita nani. But let me ask you, do you know kwamba the total amount of money that is allocated under the 15% ya devolution yenye nendanga Moranga ya Irumu Kangata, it is 8 billion shillings. Yani William Ruto anatumia pesa yote inaenda kwa kaunti ya Moranga State House kwa starehe. Irumu Kangata anatumia 8 billion shillings. 8 billion shillings kuran a good and a comfortable, affordable health system in Murang'a, where wananchi wa Murang'a wanaweza pata good health. Mpaka Mount Kenya wote au hizo counties ziko karibu na Murang'a wanaendanga kupata kupata service ya SHA in Murang'a. That is number one. Number two, education in Murang'a is very affordable. People joke, but it is true. Mtoto mwenye anaenda shule analipa only 500 shillings. Out of 8 billion shillings, Irungu Kangata is able to provide an affordable education and an affordable health service system huko.
Yes.
Hizo vitu mbili that are very critical kwa mwananchi. Irungu Kangata only with 8 billion shillings.
Yes.
8 billion shillings. But a man who's managing more than 4 trillion, he's unable to be innovative, but he's able to misuse money kutumia pesa State House ya 12 billion shillings. Convoy yake nyuanga nazunguka kajuu ya gari daily. Do you know how much the convoy of fuel gas?
I presume it's expensive.
My friend anatumia more than 100 million. In the last 4 months walikuwa wamesema ametumia 300 billion kuzunguka na convoy ya magari tu kuchapa kipindi ya Singapore. Anazunguka tu akisema Singapore na anatumia mafuta ya 3 million. Ya 300 million. 300 million. Since Duale is managing health, and Duale has never achieved anything ever since his journey as a leader, because I've observed him as an NEP. What did he achieve? He was when William Ruto gave him a chance as the Minister for Defense, the first minister in Kenya mwenye aliunleash the defense KDF to Kenya wakati wa maandamano was Duale. Within a decision of around 20 minutes was Duale. He has never achieved anything. Akatoa Duale from mambo ya internal the Minister of Defense. I think ndio alimleta directly to health. Amemweka kwa health, 50 billion shillings inapotea. Mimi, my question is not even purely Duale. William Ruto cannot see anything. Where is the argument about meritocracy? Yes. You see, when I look at Duale, I see a good example of how mediocrity looks like. When Sifuna was talking about mediocrity, I think among the people when you're going mediocrity is Duale. Duale is an non-performer. Duale should only be placed, not even as a politician. Duale can actually work well as a village elder huko. Chief, apelekwe huko Marsabit nini huko.
I don't think he will terrorize the...
You see, as long as the government, principally a government ni kulinda wananchi, Duale cannot terrorize even his own people, as long as he's living in Kenya. Maybe atoke hapa ende Somalia. But as long as he's in Kenya, any functional government that has goodwill to his people, it will protect people against people like... Because Duale is an exploiter. Duale ndo mwenye alikuwa anaambia majinsia ati wanafaa kuliwa. Duale. So to me, I'm seeing two wrong people fighting and Wakenya wanaumia. Because mimi, I will not sit here and protect Gachagua. Gachagua alituangusha when he was a deputy president. I'm that sober. Siwezi support Gachagua even though mimi niko one term. Lakini I'm only with Gachagua because he's not anywhere within structural leadership. But if Gachagua ndio atienda kusimama, maybe if I was to take Gachagua and William Ruto hapa, hata William Ruto. But because Gachagua is not he's not collecting our tax, I'd rather abaki as an opposition leader. And actually, Gachagua has proved he has good talent in being an opposition leader. Actually, he's more little than Raila, because Raila alikuanga mpole. But Gachagua is very little. Ni mzuri. Hata next year, tukiweka either Matiang'i ama Kalonzo na Sifuna in leadership, naomba tena wakosee Gachagua. Akikuja upande wa wananchi, atafanya kazi mzuri. So to me, Gachagua akiupanda government, utaanza kusikia mambo ya shares na kuweka mamitego. And I think vile Raila ame-exit, I don't know atakea mtego na maybe kina Matiang'i or someone. So to me, I'll prefer Gachagua abaki kwa opposition. That is number one. Number two, same way I cannot sit down here and protect Duale. Yes. Because I need to be sincere, we might be joking, but Wakenya wanaumia kwa hizi hospitali. Kenyans who are sick hawapati good service kwa hospitali. So to me, I'll say Duale. So both of them are wrong people, even with William Ruto. Waende wote. But now 2027, because the war is against William Ruto, who is currently in the system and is the one who has appointed Duale, and all those people he has appointed in leadership. Mimi hao ndo tadili. But Gachagua, I pray, 2027 atabaki to only as an opposition leader.
So actually, as we went up, I just want you to touch a little bit. I wanted us to talk so much about the NDC, but being that time might not be so much on our side. I want you just to tell me about Winnie Odinga during the NDC. Okay, to me, what did you get from that message, even from her appearance and the speech that she gave, trying to call for reconciliation and stuff like that?
You need to understand one thing, yeah? You know, yes. Winnie Odinga, his past, I'm looking at his history. Winnie Odinga
she might be appearing as I am, but
I apologize. Winnie Odinga, our great lady, daughter of Raila Amolo Odinga. Yes. You know, Winnie Odinga, nikiangalia past yake, alikuwa very vibrant under her father. There's that kind of personality alikuwa na exhibit when he was around his father, na akiwa babake akiwa bado akizunguka mambo ya opposition. I remember Winnie Odinga accompanied his father, wakaenda Raila akaenda kuapishwa in Uhuru Park. There's that personality and charisma and that excitement, that strength that Winnie Odinga had. Unaona the aura actually. Yes. Unaona. So moving towards after William Ruto, na wakahave handshake with Raila Amolo Odinga. Winnie Odinga had a certain personality, but hakuwa very visible kwa hii handshake ya William Ruto. But now, Mimi, I'm looking at William Ruto, Winnie Odinga, now under the exit of Raila Amolo Odinga, and this tussle between Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground. Now, let me ask you a simple question. You know, ODM, and sorry to say this, ODM is a party that has been built on the foundation of a crisis. Raila Amolo Odinga was a people's fighter. So when Raila Amolo Odinga made the name Raila Amolo Odinga, it was not because Raila Amolo Odinga was a lukewarm politician. He was a politician who was forthright, very aggressive, and very prepared to die for the people. And everyone who followed Raila Amolo Odinga was following Raila Amolo Odinga because he was a fighter. And Raila Amolo Odinga built ODM because that party was to ensure that he got the vehicle to capture power. Hii power yenye unasikianga wanatafuta power. Yes. So Raila Amolo Odinga 2007, 2013, 2017, 2022 has been looking for only one seat, the presidency. But now remember, people have been very loyal to him because they believe on his vision. So to me, let me ask you a simple question. Looking at Linda Ground and Linda Mwananchi, and looking at the originality of ODM, that it was built on the foundation of a crisis, which party yenye ukiangalia Linda Ground ama Linda Mwananchi inaka actually inaweza create anayama inaweza fight ya wananchi and ina portray hiyo picha yenyewe kwamba yenyewe hii chama ya fightia? To me, an answer, it is purely Linda Mwananchi. And I'm looking at Winnie Odinga, and I'm looking at him, at her, na nikiassume nasema, by the way, yes, she attended hiyo inauguration. I'm actually kuasat kwamba the NDC ya her uncle Oburu Odinga. Yeah, but to me, I think Winnie Odinga alienda kwa hiyo meeting not because for a political reason, but purely for a family reason. Hakutaka kuonyesha hiyo aibu kwamba the Odingas are fighting. That is the thing that you need to understand. When Odinga cotoning between two things. Number one, fighting to protect the name of our family, and also believing on the conviction kwamba this chama ya baba yake ilikuwa na fightia the people. When she walked at Kibra, the rally that she went at Kibra after her father died, yeye alisema vizuri. Yeye pale mwananchi huko ndo pale huko. She has been interviewed not once or twice, even the best interview at Citizen Show with Yvonne Okwara. Akasema purely where mwananchi yuko ndo ODM yuko. That is where her heart is. But to me, I believe kwamba out of respect for her uncle ndo aliattend the NDC. It would have been very wrong kwamba Winnie Odinga anaonyesha anapigana na uncle yake. And to me,
but her father did that to his own father.
You see, now the difference between Raila Amolo Odinga and Winnie Odinga is that Raila Amolo Odinga hakupata leadership on a silver platter. Raila Amolo Odinga, you need to understand, actually, he has paid more than Jaramogi Odinga. You see, Raila Amolo Odinga alikuwa jailed for 7 good years. He was tortured. Jaramogi Odinga was only put under house arrest. He was not jailed. Raila Amolo Odinga yeye mwenyewe hata macho zake kuna time yenye alisema, I remember in 2022 akasema it was affected because alizungushwa in all the criminal facilities in Kenya. Ameenda hata places zenye hata mimi sitamani kwenda. Yeye ameenda kwa Shimo la Tewa, ameenda kwa all kind of maximum prisons. Mimi nionyeshe pali Jaramogi Odinga alienda maximum. Hapana somo hii ya koloni. Na hii hata ya koloni haitaikuwa ati jela. Because baada ya kutoka hapo wao ndo waliweka kwa meza na Jomo Kenyatta, we do not know what transpired, who betrayed who, because whatever he said outside, but ukifanya ufuatilia unapata kuna kipindi hapo. At the end of the day, the thing is, Jaramogi Odinga did not pay as much as Raila Amolo Odinga. And Raila Amolo Odinga has shaped democracy. Because after the exit of Jaramogi Odinga from Jomo Kenyatta in 1960, wakati walikosana, Jaramogi Odinga never fought as hard as his son. Raila Amolo Odinga has fought for 20 good years. Jaramogi Odinga does not know what it means to be denied and deprived presidency 5 times kwa ballot. Only how many times has Jaramogi gone and died? So Raila Amolo Odinga has paid the price of democracy in this country. And whoever he is, may his soul rest in peace. He has paid the price of democracy. And that man fought for his own name. Now under Raila Amolo Odinga came Winnie Odinga. What has Winnie Odinga? Has she ever been jailed? No. So Winnie Odinga is only getting the privilege of sharing a name of his own father. Kwamba by the way, I'm the Odinga. And therefore yeye pale ako pale kulinda legacy. It is not wrong because to me kuna shida. Ni Mungu alichagua zaliwe pale. So hakuna makosa ya kulinda hiyo jina. And to me I believe kwamba anaona by the way haina haja kukosea heshima my uncle because currently Oburu Odinga is his father. Her father. So at the end of the day anampatia heshima. Hata akienda pale attend ni kuonyesha tu baba yake heshima. But looking at the spirit of Winnie Odinga, looking at the previous journey yenye amepitia na Raila Amolo Odinga her own father, I believe roho yake kwa Edith Sifuna. Si lazima Winnie Odinga atokee kwa rally za Linda Mwananchi. Kwa wale watu wanasema tutam, do not expect anytime soon that Winnie Odinga atawaitokea kwa rally ya Linda Mwananchi. But you need to understand, let me ask a very, maybe, I don't know how I'll put it, but a question that is very debatable. Why would Oburu Odinga call an ADC? Atoe all kind of leaders, wale wengine Kinosoti and the rest, and then waache Sifuna. Don't you think kwamba hiyo kitu iko na internal hand? Don't you think kwamba the Odingas themselves, wajua kina Mbadi na kina Juliet and the rest wenye wanasema tuta, do not know the price that the Odingas have paid for them to have ODM. They do not know. Every day they would have slept, walikuwa nalala wakipray Raila arudi nyumbani. You do not know Winnie Odinga na Aida na kina Junior wanasikia uchungu gani and that every time they do not know if Raila akienda kwa rally anaenda kujiapisha, if Raila atarudi hai. So that emotional that anxiety walilipa in as much as hawakuwa kwa kutia tear gas, lakini walikuwa na feel anxiety that our father one day our father we will be deprived ama takuwa bereaved of our father because hii vita amepigana na 5 serikali akienda akirudi. When Raila Amolo Odinga for 7 good years was in jail, maybe Winnie had experience because I believe aliachiliwa before 1990. Winnie Odinga is slightly around 35 good years. So alizaliwa within hapo after 90. But Raila Amolo Odinga passed through that pain. So to me I'll say kwamba Winnie ana protect jina baba yake and Winnie does not need to prove a point by going to Sifuna. But one thing I know internally, Winnie Odinga, Aida Odinga Junior, hao ndo wana protect Sifuna. And Sifuna anafanya kazi ya Aida, anafanya kazi ya Winnie. You will only know the truth after 2027 when William Ruto atakuwa na exit under one term.
After you will be now being sworn in.
Winnie Sifuna akikuwa sworn in ndo utaona Winnie akiwa kaka kanda yake. So mimi ni one term purely.
Sure, ladies and gentlemen, it's a nice and a comfortable place to finish up this. Like I promised you, it was to be a thunderbolt and a serious discussion. And Mark is always that intellectual hub that I always desire how he analyzes and how he sees things. And it has been a great conversation. Mr. Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for honoring the invitation. And thank you so much. And we'll keep having this conversation from time to time.
Na niko kadi. One time milele. Thank you so much.
Sure.